Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Bernhard joins us. He's Vice President of Economic Development for UNLV, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are always delighted to welcome back to the program Bernhard. He is Vice President of Economic Development for UNLV. He also heads up the International Gaming Institute. Not like one of those two portfolios wouldn't be enough for anybody.
Wouldn't be enough. It's a lot.
And then you travel.
Always so fun to have this conversation because we always wander through all those worlds together.
Yes, we do, sir. So let's start out with, you posted a thing on Facebook just in the last 24 hours as we're taping this about future design of the school through the School of Architecture.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
So one of the neat things about the Harry Reid Research and Technology Park, which I think when Senator Reid was able to secure that land for UNLV, the reaction was probably, thanks for giving us a lot of land out in the middle of nowhere, out in the southwest part of town where nobody lives. Of course, now we have an entire campus dedicated to technology and innovation. And we thought, what better way to demonstrate, to display, to showcase the talents of just an incredibly talented 31,000 strong student body than by turning over the design to our architecture and design team, who just, that was what we posted. They just ran with it. Just incredible talents. So we handed them sort of the layout and said, if you really wanted to turn this into a park-like campus, something that feels at home both in Silicon Valley and in academia and in Las Vegas, what would you do? And gosh, they're having fun with it. It's a neat class.
Okay, any initial ideas? And whether they come to fruition or not, I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, no, nothing as yet. They had their first showcase. They got feedback from all of us who live and work there. And so, this is midway through the semester. Their final presentations will be in December, and those will be the final versions.
Okay, so let me just book you right now for
for
December
that,
to come back and let's talk.
It's such a neat space, right? That it feels nothing like any university space that I've ever been in, and I've practically grown up in university spaces. The whole tech park, and you've been out there, is just an inspiring technological wonder, and it deserves a whole campus that reflects that.
And you have so many outside companies who have taken space within it, plus companies companies like Caesars that are major sponsors.
That's right.
Share some of the exciting things that are going on.
Yeah, so we've got more than 100 companies out there, including a lot of them that didn't really have a footprint in Las Vegas. So a company like LG sells lots and lots of television screens. In fact, every one of these 150,000 hotel rooms. Yeah, well,
right
look,
here.
there it is. Wow, I couldn't have planned that any better. But they didn't have a presence here, right? They just sold a lot of TV screens here in all of the hotel rooms up and down the Strip. But once we told them we're going to build a tech park here around this university and in this community that welcomes more tourists than any other anywhere, they were in, right? And they in fact do this in places like Research Triangle Park out in the Carolinas, in and around Silicon Valley and Stanford, where they're famous for this sort of thing. But the idea of bringing universities together with companies like that to think about new ways to present information, as we're seeing up and down the street, the Strip these days, I mean, the presentation of these screens are just mind-blowing. They get bigger and bigger and bigger, higher and higher quality. They've brought in cylinder screens, where our video game design classes are now looking at ways to design video games where you actually can move around the screen. The screen doesn't have to be flat, right? So companies like that really value, I think, us at UNLV and our capacity to create with them content for technology.
Where's virtual reality in all this?
Oh gosh, we just, in fact, have 2 VR studios donated by IGT, the slot machine manufacturer, because that has to be the future. And one of the things that it can do that we're really excited about is it can actually bring you into entirely new classrooms. You can go into a virtual reality world and you can walk through King Tut's tomb in a way that you can't even with the greatest of textbooks. You can go into a dinosaur's cardiovascular system and diagnose problems with its cardiovascular system that are uniquely created by the meteorite that just hit. And you're going inside, literally, well, not literally, but in a way that feels literal, right?
Yes.
It's amazing how realistic it feels. And so we're seeing a convergence, and of course Las Vegas is a great place to do this, of entertainment and education and fun in a way that's driving learning in these environments.
All right, so let me drag in the other side of your life, which is the International Gaming Institute. Yeah. Gaming has always, and I'm saying this, not you, has been a little slow to pick up on trends because if there's not really money connected to it, they like the old ways rather than jumping into something new.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen that with how long it's taken esports to really take off. How are they feeling about these kind of things and how you convert it into the future of Las Vegas?
Yeah, I think part of the challenge for Las Vegas has always been when we took the turn to clean up, right? When the great cleanup, capital G, capital C happened. And it wasn't, the 1950s when that happened, right? We're talking about a period of time that really the movie Casino ends in the 1980s, in the beginning. Right. And not coincidentally, of course the Mirage was a big part of this, but the gaming revenues took off after that, which showed that heavy, strict regulation has actually been a good thing for the business of Las Vegas. Squeaky clean Singapore never invites in Joe Pesci and his buddies, or Tony Spilotro and his buddies, but they invite the modern Las Vegas in. So we've traded the opportunity to be cutting edge with immediately available next generation technology for an evaluation process that makes sure the technologies and people are clean, right? And so I think what we saw at the Global Gaming Expo, G2E, which was here last week, and which felt like, oh my gosh, the convention world is back,
right.
Was sort of, again, a new arrangement where in a post-COVID period, where one of the things that happened in COVID was we are all gamers now, right? Our grandparents play games on their phones daily in a way that they didn't pre-COVID. We all went onto screens even more so. And the convergence of that COVID moment and our moment where we're emerging from COVID and these new technologies and new games, I think means that we're going to be seeing a lot more tech and innovation. And I hope that we're part of that at UNLV, right? That's what you hope your local university does, right? It has all sorts of research labs that have great discoveries that then produce great products that go out there into the world. So I think we've got a new chapter.
So a couple of things. Phil Satry on this program said a couple of years ago, the reason he didn't go into Macau with Caesars at the time was his concerns about the junkets and the triads and all the rest, and that it would affect his Nevada gaming license and other gaming licenses around the country. They lost out on billions of dollars because of that, but as you're saying, that was likely the right thing at that point in time for him.
Yeah, being good has been really good for business in Las Vegas. And you know, obviously there are moral issues with the mafia, right? But what people sometimes overlook is what a brilliant business decision it has been for the exportation of the Las Vegas product. Detroit makes cars, sends those out to a happy planet. We make tall, shiny buildings. When those tall, shiny buildings had a casino in their core and they were linked to the Cleveland or the Buffalo mob, that was not a building that Ecuador was looking to bring into their backyard. That was not a building that South Africa or South Korea or Macau or Singapore or Australia was looking to build in their own backyards. It was very much a NIMBY moment. Now you're seeing a lot of places, Japan famously, right, that is so eager to attract tourism in a way that really only this invention, this tall, shiny building with now lots of different amenities and roller coasters, if you will, at their amusement parks, they drive tourism so well at a broader level that the cleanup, which resulted in a broader swath of the populace enjoying this, which led to a broader swath of the planet's populace saying, yes, we want this to come in, the cleanup has been a great thing for Las Vegas.
All right, so now the other side of the coin, because I have to go there,
Yeah.
is I was talking to somebody the other day and we're talking about cell phones and communications, and they're saying, this is a terrible thing. We're not talking to each other anymore. Yeah. How do we bridge this so that we are able to take advantage of the technology, but not allow the technology to take over us?
There's a famous sociological work, and I'm a sociologist at heart, called Bowling Alone, which made this argument at the beginning of the 21st century that we're getting increasingly buried in what he called virtual social capital, which ain't the real thing, right? And he's got tons of data showing that interpersonal interaction is in fact very beneficial in all sorts of different ways. So this is a question not just for Las Vegas, not just for gaming, but for
the world,
society, right?
Sure.
This is something that China's grappling with, right? To what degree do we need to regulate our children's screen time, right? And so, yeah, I think this is something that we're all dealing with. In Las Vegas, of course, we're in the entertainment business. We're in the fun economy. In fact, we're a global intellectual capital of that fun economy. So this becomes a key question for us. What happens to attention spans? What happens to our free time? What happens to our fun time in an increasingly screen-mediated world?
Also, you know, we only have to go back probably, 20, 25 years to where the speed of the games was sped up because there was more money being played, there was more money to be won by the casinos, and so where you could go in and for $20 you could play for a couple of hours, suddenly your $20 was 5 minutes. Yeah,
speed culture is a thing, again, in sociology more broadly. Everything has gotten more, has gotten faster, the short attention span that we see in a YouTube world, right, is something that's reflected on a casino floor. So if you don't grab the attention quickly, you lose the attention. All of us as parents know this. All of us as educators know this. Again, we're the ones that are trying to bring in some of these lessons learned from the entertainment and technology mediated world into the classroom to make sure that we're keeping the attention of our children, right? So yeah, these I feel like are big picture sociology questions, and the fascinating thing about being a professor who studies Las Vegas is that Las Vegas, as always, is this amazing laboratory, this amazing mirror that we sort of can hold up to society and say, look, everything that's happening writ large is happening sort of in a distilled essence here in Las Vegas.
All right, let's take a break. More with Bernhard. We're going to try to get him revved up. We'll try after this time out.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
With Nevada's only transplant center and verified burn center, The science is here. With award-winning cardiologist and the state's only dedicated heart failure clinic, the talent is here. With Nevada's most advanced robotic surgery, the technology is here. And with the Silver State's only designated pediatric trauma center, hope is here. All because we are here. UMC.
The 10th annual Nevada Newsmakers Goes to Washington is brought to you by the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, your RTC, our community. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. University Medical Center of Southern Nevada. Compassion, accountability, integrity, respect. The Nevada Mining Association, mining a better future for Nevada. And NV Energy. NV Energy proudly serves Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Bernhard. He is Vice President of Economic Development at UNLV and also heads up the International Gaming Institute. We were joking about economic development, right before we started taping the show. But that is a huge thing that universities provide for communities. In fact, we had the president on of Nevada State College, and she's talking about the potential expansion plans.
She's amazing.
She is amazing,
Yeah.
that's to say the least. I was very impressed with her. And she has huge land. You have huge land. As Las Vegas looks to diversify the economy, which doesn't mean, as some people think, that gaming goes away, which of course it's never going to do. But what opportunities do you feel that this is opening up beyond the buildings that you're going to build, which is huge economic development in itself?
Yeah, they're just massive opportunities, right? If we're thinking about economic development and diversification, people are often asking me, well, are we focused on development, which would mean, I guess, sort of seeding the existing successful businesses, or are we talking about diversification, right? Sort of moving away from that. And I always say there's a really straightforward answer to that. The answer is yes, right? We have to do both. And oftentimes we're seeing it in, the Kevin Bacon 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon parlor game, where the strip is Kevin Bacon. So follow me on this, Sam. And then 1 degree of economic diversification is like the Raiders, right? They still were wiped out by COVID, so not diversified enough that they weren't hit by similar economic hurricanes, right? But then diversifying from the Raiders is an amazing sports medicine program. And guess who's feeding both the Raiders and the sports medicine program, as well as the strip? Your local university, right? Who has programs in each of those areas. But then spinning off from the sports medicine area is a whole new field of medical robotics that do everything from surgeries to rehabilitation. And that field of robotics, where incidentally we have one of the top robotics programs in the country. They're flying out to Florida as we speak to compete in the national championships. And while all my buddies I grew up with in Las Vegas want me to restore the basketball team to the time when they were winning national championships, the fact that our robotics team is competing for them is probably, if we're grown-ups here, more important for UNLV to produce than great basketball players. And I want the basketball team to do well. I have season tickets. But again, at every step along Kevin Bacon's path, right, as you link back to that strip, we're diversifying, right, away from the strip while simultaneously building off of our strengths. I think that's the way that it's going to happen organically, right, is connected to what we're great at, rather than just sort of throwing a seed out in the middle of the desert and hoping that it sprouts. And there's no water, there's no air, there's no energy. And so again, each of these industries, when you look at the Raiders, when you look at our medical field, when you look at robotics, these are all areas that are supported not only by an increasingly large body of accounting firms and law firms and engineering firms that know how to do these things, it's also supported by your local university, which, by the way, just 2 weeks ago, we're doubling our engineering building in size with a new $75 million building. We're doubling our medical doctors that we're producing for the Valley with a brand new $125 million facility. That's the way that you hope your university works with industry, in turn, hopefully building a better community.
Probably 25 years ago, the term was medical tourism.
Yeah,
Are you seeing a form of that coming?
Yeah, there are all sorts of diversification of tourism phenomena that we should probably talk about. One of them is sports tourism, right? In a way that didn't really exist 10 years ago, right?
Stunning.
Stunning. I mean, if you were a Rip Van Winkle that showed up today, right, you would be stunned at the amount of sports that's going on in a way that wasn't 10 years ago, right? In fact, was prohibited and scorned 10 years ago. To have two F1 events sandwiching a Super Bowl, right? The F1 is in essence the Super Bowl for the world, right, in many ways, along with the World Cup. And then we got a Super Bowl in the middle of it. And those are just the big ones, right? There are plenty of weekends where we have 4 mega events around sports, right? Medical tourism is another one. We did not have for a long time, I think it's fair to say, a medical community that would attract folks from elsewhere to come here to heal. In fact, the running joke was, it was the opposite.
Exactly,
When
yes.
you got sick in Las Vegas, where do you go? You go to McCarran Airport. Well, we were the largest city without a major academic medical school until a few years ago, right? Now we have that medical school, which isn't just churning out the next generation of students and doctors. It's also attracting folks like David DeJohn, one of my friends who helps run the pediatric program at UNLV. He was one of just a handful of pediatric infectious diseases experts for all of New York. He came here because of this project. He wanted to build a medical school. What a beautiful startup that is, right? Somebody like that doesn't come to Las Vegas without the attraction of, you get to build a medical school in the largest American city without one, and you get to be here on the ground floor for it. So again, I think what we're building is a place that people want to go. Certainly people want to come here anyway, and the opportunity to receive medical treatment and then of course stay a while as you heal is increasingly attractive. I think we're going to see tremendous growth in that area over the next 10 years.
Okay, so let me throw in a spanner in the works, as John Lennon would say, which is the cost.
Yeah.
You go to a hotel casino these days in Las Vegas on the Strip, you're paying in some places $25 for parking for 2 hours to go and spend $100 on dinner.
Yeah.
The ADR is through the roof, and it's great. I mean, happy for those companies, but at a certain point, do you start cutting out levels of people to come?
That's precisely the concern. And when you look at the projects that are coming on board, they're going to nudge that ADR even higher, right? When you look at, especially some of the smaller places, right? Again, smaller by our standards, but the Tillman Fertitta Tower is not going to be one of these, 6,000 room behemoths. The Oakview group that's building the NBA arena and hotel is talking about, again, a relatively small sort of, number of rooms. But what that means, of course, is they're competing in not just quantity but in price, right? And by competing, I mean they're earning more money by charging more for those relatively few number of rooms. And so I think we're only going to see more and more pressure upwards with ADRs, for example. At the same time, Las Vegas remains a relative bargain compared to a lot of tourist locales and compared to a lot of major cities. So we
like
maybe
Macau, for example.
Yeah. Well, Macau, again, probably the first few conversations you and I had, we looked with envy at Macau. Certainly that's not the case now as China's gone on lockdown. But it shows the importance in the same way, again, this isn't altogether that alien, right? Certainly Ford, when it was sort of driving the Detroit economy, had its eggs in multiple baskets, where if South America went south, that's okay because they were selling lots in Europe, right? These companies, these Las Vegas companies, are Fortune 500 companies with operations in many, many countries. And when, for example, one of those countries goes south, as we've seen Macau do of late, they've got eggs in a basket right now, Las Vegas, that's doing quite well. And that economic diversification sort of within a firm is also an important way to look at things.
All right, let's take another break. We'll be right back. I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker, and you've got a lot of convention space and meeting breakout space for people. Tell us about what's available.
Well, we can handle a group up to about 250, and anywhere as small as 10 or 15. So it really depends on what you're looking for, what the customer's looking for. We're open to anything. It's a beautiful drive, and if you live in South Reno, it's probably about 30-35 minutes, so it's real easy to get to. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take an Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, our remaining seconds with Bernhard, Vice President of Economic Development at UNLV, head of the International Gaming Institute. Soccer is your passion.
It is, yes.
What are you excited to see come to the FIFA finals?
Yeah, the next 10 years are huge for U.S. soccer. In that, we've got a World Cup coming in 2026, which will be the global party. And Las Vegas will play a role, even as we're not necessarily the stadium role, we're the party center. We're looking at the Women's World Cup for the year after that. We then, in 2028, have the LA Olympics, which has a soccer tournament. Here's the best thing from a business perspective about soccer. Trans super female, trans super Latino. And those are really good places because last time I checked, women are half of the population, right? And the Latinoization of the population across America is something that soccer is uniquely leveraged to do. Las Vegas plays a huge part in that because Las Vegas sort of serves as a party center for a sport that likes to celebrate and be sort of a festive occasion.
And that will make you such a happy person.
I'll be such a happy soccer fan.
Thank you so much for doing this, as always, my friend.
It's so fun.
And we'll be right back.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at NevadaNewsmakers.com. We'll see you on the next show.